pause, and then freaky ghost bed.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Bloodwine, where Bustin makes us feel good.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed going live at the part where you were talking about ghost beds. That made us all start chuckling.
That's really good. You did a really good impression of it.
Yeah, that was the Ghostbusters theme song to a T.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just gonna quietly
yeah.
tweak some lighting and bring us back to where we need to be. So, welcome back, everybody. When last we met, you guys were in an encampment just outside of Last Hearth, waiting for the rest of your companions to arrive. We're going to pick things up as they are spotted outside by the guard and led into the camp. There is someone else with them.
Well, that's unusual. I mean, everything looks like normal. It's not like we are being escorted here or anything like that.
I mean, there's one person who seems to be unarmed and is outnumbered 4-1. That being said, on your end, there's a bucket on the edge of camp with a massive cleared out space that's clearly full of scorch marks and freeze marks and earth ruptures from various elemental problems.
We should probably go say hi, ask how the adventure was.
Apologies, just had an audio moment.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I don't like the looks of that new guy, though. Speaking of which, can we make out anything about him?
Yeah, you see that there's a Pythona, sort of yellow colored with an ochre, just a simple ochre robe.
I mean, yeah, let's go up and ask some questions. Let's ask some questions about everything.
Yeah, catch up a bit.
Catch up a bit.
Do you guys remember receiving a letter?
We only got the only letter that we got from them when we told them where we were was radio silence 1 week.
What about earlier on? Not from them, but from other people.
There were a couple letters that have come and gone. Are you talking about the one from the Anchor Hill that says that the guy was tried and dead?
Right, because we got that letter. We got a couple letters about where various life drinkers are.
And alongside those, there was one more. This one being vague about someone who wanted to meet you in Last Hearth, which didn't pan out.
Yes.
Do you guys remember anything from that?
No.
No.
I have my notes with me.
You need a separate Bloodwine notebook.
That's all doodles.
Yeah, you have a doodle book.
These are my school notes. I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw one of them that was very clearly Rick from Rick and Morty in a battle suit.
Frankly, I'm on Gabe's side. Sometimes you just need to make your hand do a thing so you can pay attention.
Yeah, I fully agree.
No, I don't.
Also, sometimes you're sitting in a lecture and the only thing to look at is a professor speaking in a monotone, writing words that he's speaking on the board. So you just kind of sit there and doodle because the only thing you need is audio input to know what's going on in the class.
My friends always got mad at me in history class because I would doodle instead of paying attention, and they would take notes, and then I would get 80 on the test, and they would get 50.
Just a historical Chad.
Smart boy Gabe.
Smart boy Gabe. History's pretty easy. You just say Hitler did it, and
with alpha history skills, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, the letter that you got was from a people's rights lawyer.
Right.
Which in Westron translates to human rights, and in the other languages accordingly doesn't. So, people's rights. In this case, a snake person. This letter was about your experiences a while back when you made your way out of the mine.
Right.
Right.
you guys remember about that experience?
I don't.
I don't either.
Our way out of the mine. Which one?
The Redcoat mine that we started a riot in and then got...
Oh, yeah, you weren't there, and you also weren't there.
Yeah. So
yes.
really, this is a Vesta Steelfist.
Yeah.
The
Vesta,
weird...
Steelfist, Elbjorn, Trunk.
The weird...
Or, no.
I checked, and it's the weird mix where, like, more than half of the party doesn't remember it. Like, in terms of people at the table, but, like, most of your NPCs were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elbjorn, Elmira, Trunk, Vesta, Steelfist.
Red was there, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Was Red there?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yep. Red was there.
And there was also Absolution.
Right, Absolution
Yes,
joined us then.
Absolution,
That's
yeah.
true.
Well, you found him very much so.
He joined us.
So, yeah, you were informed that this is a follow-up about that because there was illegal shit going on there.
What a surprise!
I mean...
Nice.
I am not surprised in the slightest.
So that's basically the summary of an introduction you receive, a recap of events. This is someone that knows Corvo from a number of years working together through various channels. Corvo is willing to vouch for them, and otherwise they are kind of being secretive about details because kind of a fraught industry.
Yeah, we can relate to that.
That being said, they show credentials. Their name is Pitt.
Pitt.
1 T or 2 T's?
1. And Pitt would like to speak to you about your experiences.
All right. I'm willing to talk to Pitt.
They also would like your cooperation in ensuring that Steelfist is able to go through his testimony. They seem weirdly specific about Steelfist here.
But he's able to go through it?
Mhm.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I mean...
As long as Steelfist wants to.
As you say that, you sort of look around and you notice that you actually can't see where he is.
Oh, fuck, where'd he go?
Well, should probably go find him.
Yeah,
Do you want to do your testimony first, and we can go find?
Yeah,
Steelfist?
sure.
Do we want to do it like right now? Do you want want to set up some sort of private tent or?
I travel. If you're moving, I can move.
It's not. I just mean is there a lot of preparation, or do you just need a quick word?
It would be an interview. We would be sitting down and talking for some time.
Okay. Well,
And there's always the wagon.
yeah, the wagon would work.
Yeah, whatever. Are we on the road or are we still in that cabin?
You guys are still holed up where you were waiting for the last episode.
Okay.
You guys are basically able to go on the road now. Everyone's back. You just have one extra person who shouldn't be staying with you very long.
Okay, yeah, let's... I mean, whatever
I think we should. I would like to keep moving.
Okay, let's keep moving, and we could do it on the road.
Well, I kind of was meaning more. Let's get this over with quick, and then get back on the road. No sense dragging this pit halfway across the continent.
Okay, well, yeah, sure, we could do that too. If you want to just quickly hash out these interviews and...
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I am going to go find a room for interviews. An interview room.
Basically, you have a barn. There's a nice interview closet, or there's a couple of good interview stumps.
I think I like the stumps.
I like the stump. Yeah, interview stumps. We kind of just assembled one into its base calming attributes. So there's one less stump, but there are stumps.
The bucket gurgles for a second.
Yeah, it'll do that.
The lawyer sort of looks at the bucket suspiciously but goes, "Oh, okay. Why does the bucket gurgle?"
It's sort of a northern.
It just does.
One of those things,
Yeah.
It's sort of a conspiracy, I suppose you could call it.
At this point, Reggie's just like, I'm gonna go look for Steelfist.
Anyway.
Steelfist hasn't bolted or anything. He just made himself scarce when someone new showed up. He's around.
Yeah, I just want to leave Henny to stick her foot in her mouth. Reggie does not want to be around for that.
So, of all your NPCs, you have a chance to choose sort of who's going first, which basically, because I'm not going to go through the agonizing process of a long drawn-out interview for people that aren't you guys, basically it's more of a question of when is Vesta going to be interviewed. You can put people ahead of you, you can put people after you.
I will put people mostly ahead of me, so I don't have to like recount the bit by bit details, because I don't actually remember the bit by bit details. So
it's okay. I'm gonna make things very creatively phrased, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Elbjorn gets ready and walks off to be the first interviewed.
Cool.
Meanwhile, you guys are walking around the camp and putting all your things together, packing up. You said you went off to see Steelfist, correct?
Yep, just wanted to find him.
Yep, he's by your wagon, sort of getting things ready, loading crates up.
I'll start loading stuff up, and I'll just be like, well, the person there wants to talk to the people that were at some mining company a while back.
Oh, the red coat thing, right?
Yeah. They want everyone's details. They seem very specific about wanting your details.
Yeah, I'd expect it.
Okay. So long as you're good to, give the details, then that's fine.
Oh. You would love the recounting of my adventures.
I'm sure I would.
All right. So after you guys have packed up, Elbjorn basically rushes to get things together, but I mean, he has a horse and a tent, and he isn't like Henny with a board full of bits of yarn sort of stuck to each other.
I feel very called out.
I was going to say, or Vesta, who has an alchemy kit that needs to be packed up.
But then at the same time, you cut to a shot of Henny being like, no, okay, careful, that paper is slipping. Bea, the paper is slipping. Bea, the paper is slipping. Can you just grab it, please? And then the slips a little bit. No, it's out of place now.
God damn it.
Realistically, that would end up in a small knife being clunk into the board. Interestingly, Elbjorn walks towards Henny. He's there with Pitt as well. Hey, Henny. Does the name what was it? Pitt goes, Jackson Borumar. Does the name Jackson Borumar mean anything to you?
Boru?
Yes, Borumar. Jackson Borumar.
Well, I know Boru.
Make just an odds or evens roll. Single die.
4. Wait, shit. Even. 3.
Yeah, the only thing you can think of is Boru. That's all you got. But it's a different name.
The man you're referring to, he doesn't happen to be sort of a international immortal soul-sucking dark magic user, would he?
If you mean human trafficker, yes.
I mean, I suppose he could do that on the side.
Yes. Dark-skinned, very dark hair, dreads, tends to be very finely dressed.
Did I hear that?
Yes.
That's Boru.
My deduction skills triumph again. Yes, that is Boru.
Interesting. Winelander?
Yeah.
What age, approximately?
75?
Interesting. Okay. So a bit older than the person we're looking for.
No, well, I would argue that the thing about Boru is he
Some sort of magical phenomenon?
Yeah, he would probably appear much younger. He's probably sort of using an alias.
What age would you think he is?
Oh, he'd probably look around 30s.
Okay. It's then that when you say alias, it clicks for you. You need to check your notes. Not your physical ones, like your game ones.
Oh, thank God.
Bea, don't put those notes away.
No! Hang on, I need those. Get the board back out. Oh, okay, hang on.
So Bea is like over the edge of the wagon, frustrated, just holding them up as you're sitting there going, huh? And you go and you find Boru, and there's one brief alias that was used for about 6 months, and then before that, the next alias is Jackson Boromar.
There it is. Yes. Okay, so Jackson would be an alias. Not a particularly clever one, but yes, you can put that board back.
All right. That continues on. And, okay, so you've had previous experiences with this person?
Well, not directly. But yes, my research and endless crusading against the forces of evils has led me to interact with sort of his footprint before.
Okay.
So his deal is he was sort of a what's the word?
You guys can all hear this and contribute to the conversation with whatever you know.
He sold weapons back in the Great War 25 years ago. He's a merchant involved in a lot of sort of shady business. Recently decapitated.
Do you have any notes that I could consult?
Bea, get the board back!
She just looks at you, and you see that, like, there's the board, and then, like, a cover for the board so all your notes don't get flattened, and there's already, like, 2 barrels on top of it.
Maybe I'll consult my notebook.
We can work this out later. There's no
sure, yeah.
Take the time to think, gather your thoughts, in case there's anything that's fuzzy.
Yeah, I will go get some research done, and I leave to go consult my notes and get a better picture of what Baro's doing.
All right, so you guys are out on the road, and kicking off. Who's going to be on what watch? The lawyer wants to be able to talk to people one-on-one. That being said, it's the kind of one-on-one that, like, it's really, like, if someone that is being interviewed wants to bring someone with them, they totally can, but, like,
right.
It's the solace and solitude that's preferred.
What time of day is it?
By the time you guys have packed up, because you stopped and had interviews and took the time to discuss some things, and presumably had to spend some time fumbling around with, right, the bucket. How are we storing and moving the bucket?
Well, until we get our final containment solution figured out, we got to put a lid on it.
It's late morning, by the way, to actually answer your question.
Okay,
we got to put a lid on it.
Doesn't it have a lid on it? And it's chained?
Yes, but I'm just clarifying all this.
Yeah, so right now it has water in there. I had a number for how long the water was gonna last. It was like a few days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Has it been a few days?
No, it's
been like,
just ended.
Yeah, it's been like a day.
Okay. So I don't have to worry about that quite yet.
So we got to put a lid on it. I think we should put it in whatever sort of insulation we can find. Like, I'm thinking if there's some sort of I'm trying to think, well, oven mitts, how they're sort of insulating, like they kind of have that fabric. I'm wondering if we could find some sort of
fire resistant fabric.
Yeah, well, not even fire resistant, just to keep heat from.
At this point, anything more advanced you would actually have to invest in for, like, a proper container.
Yeah. Okay, well, my vote
Keeping in mind, of course, you do have the ability to enlist, like, Bea to source things, Tiffany to physically craft things, and, well, more like metals and mechanisms, and you have Edelwald for, like, tailoring, but they're also going to need materials. And something fire-resistant would need to be either acquired in itself, or it would have to be something that Edelwald makes and then Vesta alchemically alters.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put. I think we should just put the bucket in a crate for now, and
Yeah, I mean, sure, we can do that.
yeah, because he's out, eh? Like he's gorgling, but he's not like.
That's the hope.
You look inside. It's like a thick, viscous, like indigo fluid. It's mostly opaque, so you can't see much. You can just see like a snout, kind of, and then it fades a bit further down.
Could I roll doctor to see if he's unconscious?
Yes.
Okay. That is a 22.
22. You look closely. Luckily, the fact that this is a thick, viscous fluid means that any little tiny suspended droplets that end up in it, you can sort of track their movement a lot easier. Based on that, you can sort of see that through labor, whoever this is sort of trying to inhale and exhale. So that impulse is there, but it's a very lazy, slow thing.
Okay.
Vulcan's probably out.
Okay, let's put him in a crate, and just so that we don't have a mysterious bucket. I feel like a crate is much less conspicuous. And
all right, Bea takes out one of her empty crates, and you pick up the bucket and. And even then, as you're moving it around, you can hear it sloshing in, like, when you got water in like something big, like a bucket, and it goes like plop against the sides. It's doing that. Like, it's getting jostled a lot.
Okay, and I'll just put some sort of filler stuff to keep the bucket snug in there, and off we go.
You pick up some brush.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Okay, well, containment 0.1.
All right, so who's going to be interviewed next? Elbjorn has been interviewed so far.
Trunk, Elmira, Red.
Trunk, I think.
All right. Trunk moves and rides ahead. You see actually that they're conversing in like Torgish sign language. You know this because Henny sees that it's sign language and doesn't understand it.
Oh, man.
So they ride ahead for a little while. Where are you guys on the map?
It's early. Late morning is what you said?
Yep.
I have no idea.
Okay.
All right, I think we're live, and I have eaten some chocolate-covered raisins while Ken did all the work.
Yep. That is how we operate. I have to get the stream back up and see how that goes. Because that was... Yep. Okay, we're good. We're back. That was an unfortunate crash of XSplit, and here's hoping it never happens again. So yeah, what were we doing? Time,
where we are.
Morning, and then maps. We are in what?
You're just outside of Last Hearth. I think that's E3.
E3. Something like E3, except you're messing around with the maps earlier.
Oh, that was it? You're on it right now.
Yeah, but that's because a different map also loaded. Was underneath it. Okay, there we go. We're good.
All right.
So we should actually be. One second. This layout correctly.
Yep.
Where's my pins? Oh crap! I can't find my pin.
The pin is where it needs to be.
I know. No, we're up here, weren't we?
No, you just went like you were on that road, but you didn't go like a ways.
Okay. Well, there we go.
All right. So you guys make a decent bit of morning progress, especially since you've had a couple of days to camp and sort of get yourself together. It's not too long until you make your way past the village, and it's then that you notice that some of the guards, you notice this a little bit ahead of time. You're warned by Trunk and the lawyer. There's guards that seem to be shaking people down that look like you.
Well, that's fun. Off-roading it?
There is, like, you can route your way around, but you might not be able to actually go into town for a while. Not near here, anyways.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, I've got supplies.
That's why we stocked up.
So, routing your way around, you make it up to where the road splits to the next hamlet. At least once. You think it happens 3 times. 2 of them are a scare, but once you actually do have to pull off on sort of a side road as patrols make their way by.
Ooh, I don't like this.
That being said, that's why you have a front guard and a rear guard, because when they're coming from behind, you hear them in advance, and when they're coming from the front, you hear them from advance.
Fair point.
So, in that case, I guess we should probably wait for Chelsea for the executive decision because of the guard schedules.
Mm-hmm.
But
Lord knows I can't read them. Dinner, 4 guards, Corvo, Johnston, Henny, and Reggie. What's that supposed to mean?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have no idea what that means. How do you choose who's which guard?
Do I look organized? No.
Do I look organized? I just had to restart the stream.
Do I look organized? I scored 8% on the conscious.
The 5 personalities test.
Yeah, the conscientiousness.
Conscientiousness. Luckily, I'm not very neurotic.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Thank God I'm only 98% neurotic.
So basically, you don't super give a shit. You don't super give a shit about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Hello.
So,
Hi.
how was it?
Who's on Noon Watch?
Who's on Noon Watch?
That's a fun thing to say when someone comes back from the bathroom.
Well,
And-
it's better than how was it on a live recording.
And who's going to be with the lawyer?
Gabe now, apparently.
I will be with the lawyer.
Okay.
So Steelfist, Corvo, is Johnstone back? Johnstone's back, right? Yeah, Johnstone. Henny, our Noon Watch.
Okay.
All right. In that case, would you be ahead of the group, behind them?
Ahead.
Okay. In that case, you're going to be the one drawing a card.
Cool.
Got one in your hand, picking one from the deck.
Do a bit of a shuffle.
Giving it a shove.
Don't want the cards to be too common, you know?
Yeah,
Gotta have some fanciness to it.
drawing the same card every time, that'd be terrible. Queen of Hearts or 6 of Diamonds?
Queen of Hearts. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. The Queen of Hearts. And alongside that, you're still making very solid progress. You make it most of the way to the turn-off point to the next hamlet. This time, by luck, you catch one... there's one scare, but you don't actually encounter any patrols here. You have a chance to talk to the lawyer.
Cool.
So, the interaction that you had with the Redcoat Mining Company,
Yeah.
how did you first hear about them? You might want to switch to the face cam for this. We're going to be here for a bit.
Okay, fine.
We're gonna be here for a while.
Vesta has things she needs to say.
Also, considering both of your PCs have no idea what's going on too, feel free to weigh in, and I'll just have you guys be like, shit, Vesta remembers, so that you guys can participate for the next fucking half hour.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm writing a secret project. Yeah.
Oh, you're actually writing a lot. Oh. Is there something going on that I'm not?
There's a running gag that I've been doing for 10 episodes now that might come to fruition. Might become a thing eventually.
It's always startling when you start doing something and then keep doing it and don't really think about how much of it you've done. It was like that with Bloodwine. I was sitting there typing up, not this episode, but the episode before, or the one before that. It was our 30th thumbnail, and so I number them so that they're actually useful to look up. So I was 30.jpg and 30_banner.jpg, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh shit, we have to think about what a 50th is gonna be. God damn.
Yeah, this is the stuff I've actually wrote. This is
Is that your smut?
No. No.
Have you been writing smut?
No.
Reggie.
Henny knows nothing.
Actually, strictly speaking, most of it isn't smut, right?
No one knows what it is. That is the thing.
It's the mystery.
It's the mystery that I've been writing down for multiple episodes.
This could be anything from, like, a long, like, romantic novel with barely any, like, sexuality happening in it at all, or it could be, like, really gross Sonic fan fiction. We have no idea.
Sonichu.
How did you know about Ken the Hedgehog?
Who was a very excellent and strong hedgehog, of course.
Of course.
Chelsea the Hedgehog. I'm not impressed. You know.
We read Ken the Hedgehog before we went live one day. And it was glorious.
Yes, I do remember Ken the Hedgehog.
For the sake of the audience, we were looking up, like, there's the game of, like, you look up your first name and the hedgehog on Google Images and you get a hedgehog, basically. And it's always like someone's OC because there's just so many.
Oh, yo, this one's badass. Gabriel the Hedgehog, yo.
Yo. Badass. Okay. But the thing with Ken, when you type in Ken the Hedgehog, is you get an OC character.
Yeah.
But you also get 5 separate stories with separate chapters and, like, arcs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all poorly written.
Yeah, wasn't it, like, really bad?
It was real bad. And I have plans for that.
Should save it.
It's almost heartwarming how much bad fanfiction there is, because in a way it's kind of like a place for badness.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to learn to write and you're just like, all the stuff I do is terrible, but if it's about Sonic, then it's a meme.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're sitting there, like, better constructing your phrases and better spinning a story, but, like...
Will it be as recognized as Ken the Hedgehog, the legendary Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction, which is going to be the sequel to the Sonic movie?
They're already working on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be Ken the Hedgehog, I'm telling you.
So, right. How, what was your first interaction with the Red Coat Mining Company?
First interaction.
Or rather, when you first heard about them.
Okay, so I think what happened was we were hired on as basically to just go into this company, get some people, get them out sort of situation, because they were trapped, I believe. Like, they weren't able to get out. Like, they sent a message saying they weren't able to get out. So we were hired just to go in there and get them out. That's sort of a job.
Now, from what I understand, this was, from what your companions tell me, on an unofficial basis. You were performing a gray job looking into them, and you also had actual employment with the company. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got actual employment with the company as sort of like a way to get in. I don't know if we really realized at the time how just awful it was.
And who was with you at the time that you had signed up?
Okay, you guys are gonna need to help me with this.
Trunk and Elmira.
Yeah, so we met Trunk and Elmira. Trunk and Elmira were
also hired to do the exact same job that we were.
Yeah, they were also hired, but that's where we met them. Mm-hmm. And then at the time, my brother Salas was there, and Leland was there.
And I managed to speak with Mr. Leland some months ago. I haven't been able to find Salas, and he doesn't seem to...
Salas is unfortunately no longer with us.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It is how it is.
I love you like that.
I love the weird mix of, like, being a character who's obviously like, I'm so sorry that I brought up your brother's death, but as a GM being like, time to bring up your brother's death. So, Salas, Leland, Trunk, Elmira, yourself.
Yes. Red was also with us? Okay, Red was with us.
Elbjorn.
And Elbjorn. Yes, of course, Elbjorn was also with us.
Now, so after you had been hired, it was, not to go into too much detail, we'll get there, but during your tenure in the Red Coat Mining Company, that was when you encountered both Steelfist and Absolution, correct?
Yeah, I don't think we met Steelfist until, like, the breakout day, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the most
was the actual breakout.
Yeah.
So during the riot was when you met Steelfist.
Yeah.
Absolution, you know, while you were working?
Absolution. Yeah, we rescued Absolution from a... What was it?
Praying mantis demon?
Do I know the name of it? Did we ever figure that out?
Based on your character's experiences with magic, you'd probably just say, like, a pair of dark creatures.
Yeah, okay. So a pair of... We kind of rescued Absolution from a pair of dark creatures that were kind of living in this mine.
So the workers at this mine, and yourselves, of course, would have been potentially vulnerable to monsters while you were there, correct?
Yes.
What sort of defenses were there to keep the workers away from these threats?
Us.
Yeah, I think it was us. We were hired as adventurers.
Now, from what I understand, you were hired as adventurers, but that was distinct from the guards, correct?
Yes.
So you would actually take care of the threats, whereas the guards were guarding the workers.
Yes. Yes.
The guards were mostly there to prevent the eventual riot, really.
Yeah, guards were mostly there, actually.
They did a good job preventing the riot.
So, while you were there, were you under the impression that the guards fully understood what they were complicit in? That they may have had an inkling, or that they didn't necessarily know?
Do you remember?
They knew what was going on. It was pretty well...
They knew what was going... Yeah?
It would be difficult to be unaware as to, like, sort of what the working conditions implied.
Yeah. Like, the guards literally had to go down deep into the mines to give out work orders. They saw everything. They knew about all the deaths, and they saw the prices at the general store. Like, they knew how impossible it was to make the living.
Okay, I say this to him.
All right, and... Right, let me check my notes here for a moment. So, your actual tenure here was very, very eventful but brief, as I am led to understand. It was mostly boat travel. How long do you remember being in the mine?
In the mine?
Or on the site, to be more specific.
It was only a few days, wasn't it? We weren't there.
Yeah, we were only there a couple days.
I'd say 5 tops.
Yeah, maybe 5 days. Not very long.
All right. So there was risk. You mentioned the shops. Were you subjected to the same economic experiences as the rest of the miners?
We had better.
Yeah, we actually had
We could actually afford our food.
Because we came in with some money on us.
We could actually afford the bird.
The bird.
So you came in with some pre-existing funds, but were you nonetheless paying the same prices?
Yes.
Were you rooming with the workers?
Yes.
And when you were working, these shifts you were working, what rate would you be going in and out of the mines? What regularity?
We slept in the mines.
Yeah, we were
in the mines the entire time.
I believe we were in the mines the whole time.
Oh, so the bunkhouses were in the mines?
Yeah.
Okay. How much regular access to sunlight did you have?
Not very much, and it was discouraged.
Yeah, it was like a 2-3 hour trip in order to go up to the bank, which they discouraged you to go up to, but you needed to do that because they took your money out of the bank.
Yeah.
Now, I've been led to understand that this elevator system that you describe, this was not a safe mechanism, correct?
No, it often fell and people plummeted to their deaths.
And were there any other... Obviously, from what I've been working this case for some time, I understand that this mine was rife with major safety concerns.
Yeah.
Were there any extremely or particularly egregious ones that come to mind?
The trolley system.
The trolley system.
The trolley system where there's literally not even a break. It's just literally like, guys, stop it. Guys, stop. Guys, stop. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes to mind.
Yeah. We would have to go, so the trolleys, they would fall down into this death pit, and we would sometimes have to go into the remains of these trolleys to ensure, well, what I should say is ensure that there were no survivors, because they didn't want there to be any survivors.
Okay, so you were given explicit orders to make sure that people who were in very grave or unfortunate condition did not survive.
Yeah, basically, I think the way that they put it was more like, well, it would be a real inconvenience to us if there was anybody that we had to take care of.
So it was indirectly implied.
Yeah.
And how often, or on how many occasions, were you given these orders?
I know there was definitely once.
There were sort of standing orders.
Twice?
I'm pretty sure it was twice we had to go. Oh, one of those might have just been we were looking for Grace's rings for BAM.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know we definitely once had to, got that job, but we also weren't there for very long, so I'm sure if we were there for any longer...
It definitely was a regular occurrence, seeing as we did it. Another one crashed as we were leaving, and then while we were getting the bands, it also crashed again.
Yeah.
So now I understand that this mine was obviously a camp. You weren't meant to be leaving, and you managed to escape.
Yeah.
But were there any hypothetical means of escape or proposed means of departure that were in place?
Yes, you could buy exit, buy a ticket to leave, but
there was no way for you to actually make that money.
You could.
The only people who could were us, who made slightly more than the living wage, and it would take us a long time to earn that money.
Yeah.
So there was a sort of proposal of release, but really it was hypothetical.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also just hop on a ship and get eaten by a giant freaking celestial.
That was more of like a...
You're fired?
Yeah, it was like a, you're fired, we're gonna feed you to the celestial.
So people who were disobedient were directly being sent to Celestia for consumption by Alistair, is that correct?
Yeah.
I see. And would you say that you have occurred any amount of pain or suffering because of your experiences in the long term? Or did you experience any pain or suffering in the short term?
Aside from the fact that nearly all of us died, yeah. Like Leland was on 2 health, Vesta was on, I think the lowest you dropped was 5. Solace dropped to about 13.
Yeah, there was definitely some major short-term health effects. Long-term health effects would be hard to categorize.
I see. And do you find yourself ever having nightmares or re-experiencing of any of your memories from the mine?
I have kind of blocked out that section of my life from
I understand.
my mind.
Thank you for your cooperation. Those are the concrete questions I wanted to ask. Is there anything else you think might be notable for my logs?
You killed Tammy.
I don't think that's notable for his logs. Can I think of anything? Can you think of anything?
Honestly, if you were to ask me as a GM, can Vesta think of anything? I would say killing Tammy. Although I guess you were... No, you were there for that.
I was there. I was in the room.
Yep, we were all there when we killed Tammy. It was a group effort on Leland's part.
Okay, I mentioned it. That yes, we did assassinate Tammy, who was kind of like a director or like a manager of what was going on.
Yeah, that's a pretty good picture.
I think it was Leland specifically that had assassinated Tammy, and then we were kind of about to be taken into custody, and I think the death of Tammy was the catalyst of the riot.
Ah, yes. I've been told about this by your comrade Leland. I remember he said... What would Leland have said? Basically, like...
She was a dumb bitch.
Ah, yes, I remember. He said she was a dumb bitch.
yeah, that sounds like Leland.
I mean, Leland could probably also have told her, "Don't ever speak to me again," and slammed the door shut. The conversation would have been, Leland is there making a knife. This lawyer comes up and says, "Hey, I have some questions about your time in the mine." And Leland says, "Tammy was a dumb bitch." And slams the door shut. And
they
goes
didn't
back.
even source high-grade material.
Yeah.
Slam.
They didn't even source high-grade. Their tools were shitty. Tammy was a dumb bitch. And slams the door in her face. Like, Leland is not in the mood to talk about anything that he's been through.
The thing I love about this, too, is that Leland went back to, like, your starting village, which is really fucking far from everything.
Yeah.
So she probably went a week there,
Oh my
got
God.
a door slammed in her face, and then went a week home.
Yeah.
It's Pythona too. So it's literally the exact same as fucking Salas, who just hates the North.
Oh, and to top it off, it was like between now and when that arc happened, so it was during winter.
Could she have even gotten like stuck there because of the winter pass? Or would it need to be like just before the pass closed?
You want to know something funny?
What?
That's just something they said in the village. Really, it's just a pain in the ass. You could just go. You just have to get your cart through the
What they
snow.
need is a giant fire walkway.
Oh my god.
Why haven't we thought of this?
Oh my god!
Technology.
All right. Well, you return to the group. During this time while you're traveling, I marked down your distance for that one early on. So let's move a little bit further.
I'm just imagining there's one person who really thought the idea was great from the village and brought like the V-ring back there and was just like, guys, they're making a giant archway, and if this succeeds, we could build one here so the winter pass is so much easier to get through. And then they get notification that the person is now dead.
Well, shit.
Yeah, our group must really seem like kind of assholes to everybody else.
I think you mean domestic terrorists.
Yeah. To like outsiders, we just kind of like killed a guy.
Bloodwine DT. Domestic
It's
terrorism.
not good optics. It's bad optics.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is my Sonic the Hedgehog OC.
Did you want to put her on top down? Because I thought it looked like Tammy. And I think that's accurate. All right,
Or is
put her on
this
top
Tammy
down.
the Hedgehog?
This is Gabe the Hedgehog.
He has a gun.
He has a gun and a mustache and a goatee. And he's beautiful.
Yeah, he is certainly beautiful.
He is something.
So by now it's the noon has passed, so it'd be the early afternoon. Who's going to be at the head of the group in interview?
Elmira.
All right, Elmira rides ahead. Meanwhile, you have rejoined your group.
Yeah.
Anything to talk about?
Not really.
So, Reggie, you know a lot about Boru, eh?
I know a bit. I interacted with him a little bit back in Redwine.
I had his head in a box for a little while.
After we leave Redwine, that's about it.
As you say head in a box for a while, you hear another like from the bucket. Oh,
Do you want?
I'm trying to select it.
Now you feel my pain. Now you feel my pain.
You're getting closer to an intersection where you expect there to be, well, I mean, you have your maps, you see what's there. There's a town, there's a couple of, like, hamlets and villages. That being said, you guys have made your way past sort of where the tundra and the crags at the base of the mountains are, which means you're back to conifers. Here, it'll be quite easy to escape sight, at least, when you go off-road.
Well,
That being said, it's a forest, so off-road is another thing entirely.
Well, you win some, you lose some. I think we should
I'm going to give you guys a moment to strategize.
avoid the main roads as much as possible. They're probably looking for us everywhere.
Okay, but we don't know of any not main roads in this area.
I suppose that is a good point. I don't know.
I mean, I guess we can't actually get spotted. Like Reggie's idea is, we went through one blockade when we left Last Hearth, but I suppose he doesn't want to. No one really wants to do that all the time. Well,
yeah, I mean, if your ideal sort of like if a journey involves getting shot at by crossbows, I mean, we could just ram through every blockade we see.
Par for the course for some journeys,
I suppose.
Do we take the forest for everything that we do? Like, do we have to, like, if we want to stock up on supplies, do we have to go to a side village or something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Alright, so I guess we'll have to, like, go to side villages then.
Yeah, I mean, we're not welcome anywhere else.
Fair.
We've been murdering a lot of famous people.
We only really murdered one famous person that the populace is concerned about.
I feel like it'd be like us just going and killing Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And then disappearing.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, why did he do that?
Why would they do that? It's such a weird thing to just go and kill this random, like, entrepreneur.
Wait a minute, are you guys Antifa super soldiers?
Yeah. I think so.
I'm the superest of soldiers.
We're all super soldiers.
Created by the mastermind George Soros to wage war against the life drinkers. Oh, God.
Does that make Blue George or Henny? Because Henny's really the backbone of the whole life drinker thing. Like,
but the real question is, who's making the frogs gay in Bloodwine?
Truth is, kid, the frogs were gay from the start.
Turning the frogs gay.
okay. I think that's Reggie. Reggie's the one turning all the frogs gay. Just through his pure manliness.
To be fair, of the three like main party members here, I feel like Reggie is the one who's the most likely to rip off a shirt on camera going, "Ah!"
Alex Jones isn't the one making the frogs gay.
Yeah, Reggie's just using his pure manliness to do it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But it's also by him going, "Rah!"
These things are related.
They're related, but not in the same way.
Behold my masculinity and be converted.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the time he's selling pills and there's a before and after, and all the pills did was make him more red.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be when Paul Joseph Watson, on behalf of InfoWars, was raging about how soy feminizes you, and then in this, I believe it's in the same video, like, definitely he physically, like, shells the pill, but he's shelling Brain Force, which is primarily built and, like, made around, like, soy derivatives. So the dude's saying, like, hey, soy feminizes you. They're putting it in everything. It's the leftists and they're evil. By the way, use our brain pills that have soy in them.
Yes. I mean,
the world is weird.
I'm pretty sure that this is what happens when you take a baseball bat to the word integrity.
No, to be fair, no. To be fair, the people buying Brain Force pills, they're not going to be looking at the ingredients.
That's valid. So what the fuck were we doing?
Putting the finishing touches on my Sonic OC.
Right, you guys were thinking about how to move ahead.
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Well, I don't want to stay on the main roads if we can help it. I think taking back roads is probably safer.
I think that's a good idea. But we don't know the back roads here.
Johnstone? Any familiarity with this neck of the woods?
Oh, I've been around here many a time, taking quite a hunting trail and logging road around these parts, let me tell you.
I mean, I would love it if you could tell us the logging trails and hunting trails that you've taken so that we could also take them.
Don't mind if I do.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, we got... Let me see that. He sort of like leans over and looks at your map. And he sort of... he mentions something like a date from like 34 years ago. Some guy named Watson. And then he goes, oh yeah. 3 ways we could go. We're trying to go eastwards, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to probably want to go back up the road a bit and then off a logging trail, and it'll go far north, then go south. But there's another one that'll lead us west before going south and then going back onto the main road.
How about you lead the way?
Okay.
All right, you guys start following Johnstone. He ends up leading you actually back the way you came for like at least a good 15 minutes before you find a turnoff. After that, you start making a bit more distance. Who's going to be keeping watch? Johnstone just has to give directions. He doesn't need to be at the fore.
What's the time of day?
Now it would be the late afternoon.
Trunk. Rollins. Is Elmira done her interview?
Yep.
Elmira, Steelfist.
All right. So who's going to be interviewed next?
Red.
All right. You guys make some solid progress all the way back up that side road, and then from where you're going on the map here, you basically just basically go almost to the edge, and then the next time you move, like the next time chunk, you would go to the next map. Perfect. You guys make it some distance. It's the late afternoon, and you haven't actually been traveling a full day, but it's still closer to the end of the day, and you were doing things in the morning. Red and the lawyer are off ahead, having a conversation, and meanwhile you guys are all back here as a group. What do you have to talk about?
Well, we need to pick our next target, and we need to decide how long to lay low. Those are sort of our two things.
Oh, didn't we decide? We decided on a rando, didn't we?
Yes, because it makes more sense than going after a...
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we were to go after one of the people we know who's around in the area, they're going to be on high alert.
And you guys are going to go to Pine Watch, right?
Yes, we were going to Pine Watch, keep an ear to the ground, see if we can sniff out any more. But yeah, for the most part, I think we want to lay low for the next couple weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you guys travel through the dinner hour?
Well, I mean, we're not particularly in a rush. We just want to stay ahead of whoever's chasing us.
Well, that's the thing. No one's really chasing us. They're trying to find our trail.
Right. So yeah, I think we can stop for dinner. But I want to go off, make camp off-road. Actually, if we stop now, we might have more time to make camp and find a secluded place than we would if we were to try and do that in the night. So maybe it's a good idea.
Okay,
Right.
let's stop now.
Yeah.
You guys use the daylight that you have available to get a nice secluded campsite away from the road proper. Now it's the dinner hour by the time you've got everything set up. It's getting closer to evening. What are you guys up to? By now, Steelfist is ready. Well, it would be Steelfist's turn to talk to the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody else?
I don't think so. Oh, absolution.
Okay. In that case, Absolution sits down.
Okay.
What would you guys be getting up to now that you have a bit of free time?
I'm suspicious of this lawyer person. I'm gonna maybe sneakily listen in and see if I can sleuth out if she has an ulterior motive.
All right. Roll me a sleuthing check.
Reggie is training Milton.
All right.
Oh, I love Milton.
Vesta's gonna do some ritual.
What skill?
Mostly just weapon.
All right. Give me a roll.
Gladly. Ooh. That's...
Do you have his character sheet, by the way? Yoink.
Let's see, that's 10, that's 15, that's 21.
All right. So you've got a 21, and he seems to be keeping up with you with a 17. He's not bad.
Yeah.
Even though, based on how he fights, you can tell that he very much doesn't have a lot of formal training. You can tell that he has a lot of practical training.
I'm filling in the gaps in the formal training.
All right. And what about Vesta?
Vesta did some protections on the camp and got 17.
Okay. So you are training with Milton. Elbjorn and Rollins are always down to join for some training. Red joins in too because Elbjorn's there. And so you're sort of in the middle of camp making a hubbub. This is, of course, excellent cover for Henny. Did you roll sleuthing?
I did. I rolled a 28.
28. You have a moment to peek into some documents.
Ooh.
You wait until there's just the right bit of cover. You aren't in a position where you actually get to look through. You just have a brief moment to nick something. As it happens, roll 2 dice, odds or evens.
Evens. That's a 5 and a 4.
Okay. You have a case file on Vesta.
Ooh.
You can very easily go somewhere sneaky to actually read it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
All right. As you poke open and look into it, it's new information for Henny, but the contents of Vesta's interview, you see that there's a lot of specific notes that are corroborates to the stories of fellow adventurers, seems to agree with all of the testimony, corroborating statements about worker health and guard complicity, things like that. You see that underscored right at the bottom in big bold letters is denial.
Denial. Huh, but she admitted to killing. Okay, so I guess she means lawyer means that Vesta is in denial. Rather than not that, because I'm trying to remember, Vesta didn't deny killing Tammy, right? Okay.
No.
Okay. I will sneak those back at the best opportunity.
Roll odds or evens again, and on top of that, although I'll get you to do this first.
Evens. 1 dice or 2, right? Two. Evens. That's 2 5s. Shit.
Okay. You have a chance to pilfer something else. Do you take it?
Nope.
Okay, you just slide the report in, and it's like nothing ever happened.
When you're committing crimes, don't commit more than one crime.
Exactly. If you're going to be committing a crime, don't commit more than one crime.
Those are the words that go through Henny's mind, but there's louder words in Henny's mind as she sees that there's a thick stack. And just like how there's the occasional tab of a folder or edge of a page, you see that there is a really thick file. Vesta's file was genuinely 2 pages, 3 pages of notes tops. This one is an inch, and it's labeled with Steelfist's name. His legal name, Irono Steelfist. Roll science.
It's a 19.
19. This actual physical file has probably been around for a decent while. These pages have yellowed, and there's a lot of folders that you specifically, as a briefly law enforcement officer, actually have seen in standard use. I mean, you've done bureaucracy. These are old case files. Actually, from reading Vesta's, you can also identify that all of the certifications are legit. This is stuff that would be way above your pay grade, but you're still trained to know that this is international law stuff.
Well, I'm going to get out of here before she catches me, but I am also going to listen in on the Steelfist interview if I can.
All right. Meanwhile, as Vesta's making her way around the camp, putting up the guards, you walk past where Reggie's wagon is. Steelfist is sort of in the middle of looking through something, and you sort of runs off to the woods to the bathroom. You see that it's the book that he's been reading over and over.
Steelfist?
Mm-hmm. It was one that he picked up at a bookshop a while ago with the rest of you guys.
What is it? I read the cover.
As you go and get closer to sort of like lift the edge to see what cover it is, you see that it's actually 2 books sort of folded together. The outside one, which clearly has some like roughing around the pages because it has been read, was the Sword Gun Chronicles that was picked up.
Okay.
The other one, however, is just like famous heroes of the world.
Cool.
Based on where it was open to, and there's a bookmark there, you can see that it's like an entry. And this is not necessarily like an academic tome. This is a bit more kid-oriented, so like there's drawings and big, bold letters, and you see that it's Haru and Isabella Steelfist.
Oh.
Huh.
His parents were famous?
You'd have to read to know.
Roll Mental Elemental, which is a fun thing to say.
Mental Elemental.
Mental Elemental. 10. You think you remember something from when you were learning early things, like a Haru stone, but that's all you got. This isn't your area of expertise.
You know who it would be? Steelfist.
As it happens, as you're walking by with still some plausible deniability, you hear him coming.
I'm gonna ask him.
What?
Yeah.
You're crazy. You're insane.
Just because she doesn't snoop behind everyone's back like someone.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
So, as you make your way, as Steelfist makes his way out of the woods, roll Understand. Ten. He looks at you like you're a parent with a 2-year-old and you turned away and there's someone you've never met standing over them. He like rushes for you and goes, Hey, which that's my book. Hi.
Hi. I'm getting like bad vibes from Steelfist, so just feel like, I was just wondering what you were reading, that's all.
Well, I read through the Sword Gun Chronicles and I was just reading my old book again.
Cool.
You didn't want to read it, did you?
No, it's all right. I was just kind of doing my rounds out and doing some ritual stuff on the camp, and saw you had your book, so I don't know. That's all.
All right, just let me know if you want to read it.
Okay, sure. I keep going. He seems uncomfortable.
All right, you make your way around, and by now it's getting closer to the early night. It's time for watches right about. Obviously, it's late. Interviews are done. People are going to bed. Who's on first watch?
Early night is me and Elbjorn.
All right. You and Elbjorn are both awake in the early night for your watch. Are you drawing a card, or is he?
I'll draw a card.
All right.
I have to shuffle.
Before I head to bed, I asked to switch shifts with Johnstone.
So you're with Steelfist?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, look at that. 8 of diamonds.
All right. It's a nice, pleasant night. Anybody else would be sitting here going, oh my god, it's cold, and it's night, and it's in the far north, and it's winter, and it's terrible. But, you've lived here your entire life. You're basically, the equivalent of Canadians, walking around in a tank top in the minus 20 weather, being like, it's brisk, it feels nice.
The sun is out.
It's the kind of bone chilling that makes you feel a little alive, you know?
Yeah.
It's a dry cold.
Yeah.
I love hearing it's a dry cold from Mr. fucking Prairies, while here we've got the wet cold, and let me tell you, it is that bad.
Yeah, no, wet cold is worse.
How did you find it when you moved around this end?
I didn't wear a jacket in winter, like, for years. I was wearing a sweater, and my mom would be like, "You should wear a jacket." I'm like, "I don't. It's not cold." And other parents would be like, "You're letting him walk around in a sweater?" And she's like, "It's not fucking cold. Like, he's not gonna freeze to death like you would in the prairies. Like, he might be uncomfortable, but like that's his problem. I don't care."
Yeah. So right, nothing else happens on your watch. It's just a nice, pleasant, brisk night. Who's on watch after you? Or do you spend any time talking to Elbjorn or anything?
No, I don't think so. After me is Absolution and Rollins.
All right. After them,
Trunk and Elmira.
So
and then it's going to be Steel Fist and Reggie.
All right. It's twilight.
I just didn't want to be on a shift with you. I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, no, I get it. Feelings mutual, pal.
So you're woken up at twilight by Trunk, who you guys have negotiated this. You're a heavy sleeper, and so and it's a big wagon, so he just goes and it kind of like jostles you awake.
Holy shit! It's genuinely like a turtle on its shell, and just kind of roll and roll, and I don't really feel it until you get to like the peak point, because that's the only point that I would actually feel it, when my arm starts to like hit a side of something. God. Because otherwise I'm just on my shell being like rolled around. And it's just like, what would I feel? Nothing. It's my fucking shell.
So after you awake, you get your gear on, you get out on there, and you see that Stillfist is awake too. Trunk and Elmira head to bed. It's twilight, the very early morning, sort of before the birds have started to sing, but while there's still a little bit of light.
Okay.
Is it you or Steelfist who's drawn the card?
I'll draw her.
Right.
So my options are 9 of Hearts or 2 of Clubs. I'll take the 2 of Clubs.
All right. So you're sitting there on watch with Steelfist, and I'll resolve that card when it happens, but it'll happen, and if you're taking the damage now, you've taken it. Well, you negotiated this. What's up?
Basically, Steelfist, you have a book of, like, heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I had an idea floating around in my head for a folk hero. I wanted your opinion on it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I consider myself a little bit of an expert.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because, like, you know, you try bouncing ideas off Penny, and she's just like...
I know, she's always like, that's not scientifically possible, or
I know,
that
right?
doesn't seem to be a rational premise, or I don't think this character has a relatable intention.
Well...
Penny turns in her sleep.
She's just sitting there, Mary Sue, Mary Sue.
Well, the other day when Vulcan was, you know, ahead zapping me,
Yeah.
I got an idea. You see, what if there was a folk hero that always wore armor, and he couldn't take off the armor because he was always emitting elemental electricity?
That's a good one.
Yeah. See, the plot of the character is that he can never really show who he is to anyone, and no one knows who he is. How does he go to the bathroom?
All right, so it's like a mystery novel. You got to figure out who the armor guy is.
It can be a lot of things.
So is it like there's armor guy, but you don't know who the armor guy really is?
That's the folk, though. That's the folklore. Because you always hint at who he might be, but no one actually knows who he is.
So it's like a secret identity.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what's he do?
Well, the thing is, since he's always emitting electricity, he's the ultimate electric elementalist. Because as soon as he removes a piece of his armor, people start dying.
I mean, that's a good plan.
Do you think that's a good... Like, are there any other similar things in your book?
So, you know when you're talking to someone and it's about a subject that you know a lot about and then they don't, and then there'll be one jumping point where it just flips? What's your elemental dots? None. So
I was celestial at one point.
Oh, it doesn't help.
It doesn't transfer.
Genuinely, the only word that comes through is channeling, and even that doesn't work the same way. It's like going from the way that like geology uses the word matrix to the way that like computers use the word matrix.
Oh no.
So he just launches into this whole diatribe about how like, well, you know, really what it would be about like you want to have this like fire thing, and suddenly after a little bit you sort of blink and you start to follow a little bit. You would want this character to be like an electricity user, which means they got to be really good at fire and they got to be really good at air. And Steelfist doesn't know a lot about he doesn't know a lot about fire, but he says he knows a lot about air. And that's when he starts talking about like, oh yeah, like this yeah. There's good like elemental fighter heroes.
Like who?
Well, and then he takes out the book and you can see he's like dodging the bookmark. He's not subtle about this, but he's not trying to be, but he's also not trying to be. Really, he's just kind of like in his own world a little bit. He's like, well, here we got Phyrus, the great sword user. It's because there was another guy called Phyrus the Longsword, and then this guy tried to be the same, and so then 200 years after his death, they had to update it because the other guy got more famous. Meanwhile, the other guy had tried to name himself after him to do the same thing as your character, and that's the same because this guy's also a battle mage, and he's got like a fire in the armor. But with his, it's more that he focuses and closes his armor and charges it up so nobody can hit him. And then once he opens it up, it's like a woo. He's really cool. You do much elemental stuff?
No, I can't say that I've ever really had a penchant for magic.
Well, and he pauses for way longer than he should, and he goes, if you want to look through this book anytime, feel free. And he like passes it to you.
Yeah.
Right. All right. You want to keep an eye on everybody in camp? I'm gonna do the rounds.
Okay.
All right. Steelfist is walking around the edge of the camp, and you have his book.
Book acquired.
So I'm presuming you're just going to the page that he's bookmarked.
Yeah, I'm flipping through, but I mean, a bookmarked page. You just stop at, like, when you flip through a book, if there is a bookmarked page, the book is both more likely to stop there, and you're more likely to actually, like, be curious about what's bookmarked.
Okay, so if I know Reggie, this is probably what happens. He flips through, he finds, like, he's deliberately going like, okay, kind of just flipping through to go to scan, gets fixated, actually starts looking for inspiration, like spends at least 5 minutes enthralled on the page, then goes, oh yeah, and then flips forward, and then hits the bookmark page.
Yes, accurate.
You do, in your journey to the page you're trying to get to accidentally, learn a thing or two that might be useful for your next novel. However,
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not looking for inspiration at all.
For your smut novel?
That would be a ridiculous premise for a smut novel.
And that's when you flip in your denial, going, "Oh, ridiculous premise. Nope, I'm not. I don't do porn." And you and you flip to a page which is bookmarked, and it's Haru and Isabella Steelfist.
Yeah, I'll read it because, like, the name Steelfist catches my eye, especially if they're going to be elementalists.
Yeah, you actually, this is one of those weird things where it rings a bell. In spite of the fact that you've been hanging out with Steelfist this whole time, it's only now that you see the entry that it's dinging. You think that you might have seen these guys at an arena fight once, but it's very much like a very distant, tangential memory kind of thing. Reading up on it, it looks like they were both elementalists, one from way out east, one from Redwine. They started fighting together in the arena, and with it was like 2 years that they had fought each other head to head for gold, and Isabella had won. And then when Haru beat Isabella, she proposed. There's a story about how they founded their own elementalist school, and they talk about like basically like battle magic and the basic elements being fire, water, earth, air. And then it says that they were executed after being captured at Redwine Keep during the outset of the war, and the location of their son's body had never been found. And beyond that, it just kind of phrases in one of those ambiguous ways that's clearly like they don't know what happened to the kid, but it's been a few decades.
As soon as Reggie like reads executed at the outset of the war, Reggie's just like, oh fuck. Like, it's just straight up, because he knows. He's from Redwine. He knows the conditions. He escaped just before that. He probably even saw their performance.
As it happens, though, I mean, you're friends with... Reggie is closer friends with Steelfist. Like, yeah. Going by his age, he probably would barely even remember this. He would have been like 2 or 3.
Reggie has stumbled on a landmine.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, if he was only like 2 or 3, who was taking care of him?
There's several questions I have.
Roll understand.
That would be an 11.
11. You're sitting there and you take a moment to piece some things together. You know how things work with books. There's a Steelfist in here. Here's a Steelfist. So you go to the front page, and from there you see actually that there's a page that's been torn out.
Can I look at like the pages before it to get context, or like?
It was very much like the blank front page of a book.
That's where people usually write their to Steelfist. Love you very much. Happy birthday.
Mom. Weird, this book foretells my death.
I signed this with the rope around my neck. Have a good night. I hope you don't die.
Have a good night. I mean life.
Sorry, it's very hard to think when I'm about to die.
I love you, son.
You can see, actually, there's a few places, like the book after that would be like the legal notices and like copyright and printer and distribution stuff. On that one, you see there's a few like traces where it looks like there's the edge of like a clean bit, and then places where there's been like some coal that's been rubbed on it.
Some coal that's been rubbed on it. As in someone's trying to copy, or like...
Maybe. It's then that, of course, you snap out of it because you are on guard duty, and Steelfist returns back to the inside of camp for a little bit for rotation.
Just kind of snaps the book closed and hands it back to Steelfist and says, that was definitely an interesting read.
Find anything good?
You could say that, yeah.
All right. I like it.
She's kind of like, this is a conversation for another day. I need to process what the hell's going on.
So you're kind of just sitting there, like, walking around the edge of camp being like, okay. And that's around when people slowly start waking up at dawn.
I feel like the implication that Steelfist was like, oh, Vesta reading my book, she'll piece this together. Reggie? You'll probably be too distracted by the cool fighters.
Meanwhile, he's like the worst person you could give the book to. Like, genuinely.
Yeah.
Steelfist knows I'm from Redwine, and he knows how old I am.
Unless there's something different he's trying to hide.
The murderer's in the caravan.
It was the butler.
It was the butler that did it.
In the kitchen.
You point at Elbjorn, and he's like, fuck you.
What the fuck? I served you alcohol once. That doesn't make me a butler.
Well, it's dawn.
It's dawn. Is it time for Steelfist's interview?
Indeed it is. once you guys pack up and head on the road, he's going to be riding ahead with the lawyer.
I'm sneaking in to listen in.
Before you do that, I'm going to stop you. I don't know if I want... Okay. I'll just tell you, and, you can decide what you want to do there, but this might be a good opportunity to instead look at Steelfist's Book of Folklore. There's some oddness to it that I think you might want to sleuth out. Pay attention specifically to the front.
I mean, most folklore is highly exaggerated.
No, I'm not talking about the tales.
Okay. Sure. Yes, I will go look at Steelfist's book.
I'm just telling you to pay. It might be something that you want to investigate. You can go and listen in to whatever you want to listen in, but something tells me that's just going to be the same old, same old.
The same old. She has a file on him this thick.
Yeah. And you could instead investigate that while they're at the front.
I mean, how obvious would it be for Andy to try to listen in on this conversation?
I guess because we're moving, eh?
Yeah.
That'd be hard.
You are in the forest. If you were on foot, it would be a lot of physical work for Henny to keep up with them on horseback, but that would be how you would approach stealthily. If you were on a horse or a wagon, you'd get caught.
Yeah, I was planning to just sort of, be in the bushes, keeping up.
The lawyer's Steelfist file would be with them, of course, because that's the file in use. Same with all the other things, but Steelfist's book would be with Reggie.
Well, I handed it back to him.
I mean, Steelfist rides on top of your wagon. He stores your shit there. His shit there.
That's true.
Okay, I will go and I'll investigate his book.
All right, looking through it, you see the same things. You see that there's the first thing you notice is genuinely you just open it and then it's like a galaxy brain moment where you just go bing, 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 and you look at the bookmark and it's basically Reggie going, a mystery, and you're basically just oh, I know how this works. There are very clear marks of somebody having taken an etching. It looks like the dedications page was torn out, and because of the fact that an etching was there, you surmise that... Actually, roll stealth for how ridiculous my vocabulary is in this description.
Stealth?
Sorry, sleuthing.
Sleuthing. Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That's only a 21. 21.
You surmise, based on the coal dust that is present on the page underneath where the dedication page would be, the presence, of course, of this being Steelfist's book with a Steelfist in it, and the fact that there's these little edges to guess that there have been etchings taken or rubbings shortly after this was torn out. If this was from his parents or something, if it was that old, then you would be able to find that on the copyright page underneath, and by confirming it, it looks like this was released maybe 2 years after their death.
Okay, so they didn't give it to him. That makes sense. Okay, so there was a page, and it got ripped out, and then somebody on the next page used coal dust to take a copy of what was on the page that got ripped out. Is there any way to determine? I guess the coal dust has been. There's no way to reverse that process, eh? If you were to put a piece of paper on that coal dust, would it be lighter in the places where the etching was taken?
Strictly speaking, if this was fresh, then you could just do it again. That being said, the impressions made from the quill on the paper have long since returned to normal on the page underneath.
Dang.
That being said, it doesn't take you long. This is literally, you could go and then tail them right now. You just opened this book, closed it, and was that's what I found.
Okay, yeah. Well, then I'm going to go tail them.
You did in all of 5 seconds what took Reggie the entire shift.
Well, I guess we're never going to know what that is. But I will go tail them then.
All right, give me a brawn roll. You need a 10 to pass. You're just catching up.
Brawn. Hi, yeah, 7.
All right, so you take some 3 damage, but you catch up. As you get close, you've missed the early part, but very much it sounds like this is Steelfist talking about being in the mine. It's then that you hear something that sort of like pings in your head there, and he goes, well, that's when, he had been using the name Jackson for quite some time. Of course, by the time I was... and then they turn a corner. Roll Grace.
Oh, thank God. No, 15.
15. You slip sort of like through the trees just right and manage to leap a bound to get between a few sharp turns and gain the distance you lost. You're back behind them where they wouldn't see you. You hear a bit more of the conversation. So, you're saying that this had been happening since... Well, yeah, since the boat. And so, how was it that... And then you lose them again.
That's me running.
All right. Do a delicate. This one you need a 25 to pass.
No! It's an 8.
17.
17.
Where does that put your, like, vague... Like, I don't need a number. Just how you feeling?
I'm 3 above injured.
All right.
How is Reggie always the one who is never dipped into tired? But he's the turtle who has to sprint everywhere to get anywhere.
To be fair, I haven't been healing ever since. I've just been so frazzled ever since we killed the dude. I haven't been healing from sleep properly. So, I started at 63, and now I'm... Wait, no, 73. Wait, is that 63 minus... Oh, so yeah, now I'm hurt.
So basically, the only reason that Reggie is fine is because Reggie is the only person in the party practicing self-care.
Yes.
So you do manage to get one last snippet. You're sort of like running through the woods. It's like a big curve, but you see an opening and you'll be able to get to a good ambush spot. But you have to like jump between sticks without snapping them. You're basically out of breath and you take a moment to catch it before you duck behind a log and you hear them passing. You get a longer snippet since they're coming and going. You hear. So they... Yeah, I know that these guys I can go, but like since then I still kind of feel like I'm not allowed. Like there's gonna be some, but then again that Leland guy, he left, and that's the end of the conversation.
And I collapse.
Yeah, you have got no more juice. You basically sit there and go, and you're like so tired that you can see nothing but ground. By the time you go. And you're good, like literally the party has turned the corner.
I'm gonna roll doctoring on myself. Okay, that brings me back up. So I'm not...
Oh, would that have knocked you into?
Yeah, that knocked me into hurt.
Oh, I wish I had known that. I would have narrated that differently. So yeah, instead of deftly jumping between the branches, it's one of those things where you have enough room that you get away with it, but like 2 branches away from the end, you step on one, you trip on another, you like kick your knee into like a branch, and then you fall back and you're stunned for a quarter second, and it's the perfect mix of like you've had the wind knocked out of you and you're still kind of like stunned from whacking your knee so hard that you're just like and you're deathly silent as that entire exchange goes by, and then right when they're out of your shot you're like, fuck.
Oh man.
So by the time you've caught up with the party, you get next to Bea, so you have a place to sit, and you're sitting there making sure that you haven't completely dislocated your goddamn kneecap. Really, now that you've done it, you've just scraped it up bad, but...
I gotta start working out.
That's what I've been telling you.
I know. Oh, okay.
You need to eat your 8 square meals a day.
Don't think that's the issue.
Square meals?
I'm not 100% that our metabolisms are aligned in that way.
That's fair.
Okay, so Steelfist might have some lasting trauma from his mining career. There's some sort of secret message on a book that has been ripped out but copied. And he has, if not a criminal history, a well-documented history spanning back several years.
Why don't we just ask him?
I love that.
Are you crazy? We can't just go ask him.
Why not?
What if he lies? What if he doesn't want us to know?
He can tell us that.
I just love that in all of like this entire campaign, Gabe and I have gone on like these weird tangent plans, and then there's always Chelsea just like could just open the door. We could just do the most direct thing.
Intelligence, charisma, wisdom.
Oh. Okay, if you want to talk to him.
As you guys sit there, discuss, and patch up a little bit of bleeding knee, before too long, there is a guard shift. Steelfist is back. He goes back to sit with you on the wagon, and the lawyer is off to the other side updating notes. She asks to sit on the back of Henny and Bea's wagon.
Yeah, sure. Hop on.
She's sitting sort of like country style, like off the edge, hanging some feet and writing there. So you can sort of, ride and tail. Riding country style.
Who's saying she's a python?
hanging some tail.
Yeah.
It just makes me so uncomfortable when you say that. I don't know why. I don't like it.
Hanging some tail?
Please stop.
So, just hang a tail on the end of the fucking pickup.
Christ.
So you can kind of peek back a little bit, but like you would not be in a position to easily look at what's on that notebook. That being said, Steelfist is with you, and you are on horseback and can move around a bit.
I think back to what Vesta told me. Why don't you just ask? So, did you get what you needed from Steelfist?
I'm afraid not. This is what I've been worrying about, really. This seems to be going back quite some time. It looks like there's been a few different attempts, but... Sorry, I should not be talking about any of this.
Right, no, confidentiality. I know how that goes.
Which is to say, to truncate that, I may have to interview Steelfist a few more times.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, like, what sort of information do you need exactly? Like, maybe there's some way we could help, or...
He's going to need to talk a lot about some things that happened throughout his life. So if you are aware of what that means, that would be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, that sounds like some sort of therapy or, kind of complex sort of people stuff. Like, we could maybe sneak into his, hear from me, we could sneak into his stuff and...
Okay, so
hypothetically,
I pull my horse up to Steelfist's carriage, like where Steelfist is sitting, and I just like, so hey, Steelfist, where'd you grow up?
Oh, well, I grew up all kinds of places. Roll understand.
I don't know why I picked up so many dice. This isn't the original. Okay. 12.
12. He's launching into a tale instead of telling you a story. Well, I don't really know where I was born. I like to think I was born on a boat. Spent a long time going place to place. For a while, I did grifts with my adoptive dad till I was about 10 or so. And then after that, worked a couple different places, couple different islands. For the most part, logging until I ended up in the mine, and I was there for a couple of years. Then I came across you guys.
What was your adoptive dad like?
We swindled together, so he wasn't a great dude, but he taught me everything I know, and I still know nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, he was a bastard, though.
Is he still around?
Yeah, I guess he's not going away. In a lot of ways, the ghosts of your past, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Vesta has killed a lot of people.
Who's at the head of the group?
It is, late morning? Absolution is.
Okay.
Absolution sees Henny say, hey, Absolution. Listen, I told that lawyer lady that it was my turn to watch get out of a bad conversation. I'm going to be filling in for you.
Very well. Cool. You basically hop onto his horse as he hops on, and you sort of ride ahead to get out of the conversation right as you hear him going in, and he's like, so Bayo, that one cask you had, have you? And launching into some sort of bougie wine conversation as you're moving ahead, going go, 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 go. You ride a little bit ahead of the group, and you're like, whew, okay. On watch.
Doesn't think I'm crazy.
What's on Henny's mind?
What's on Henny's mind is the fact that she sort of suggested to this lawyer we use less than legal investigation methods, and that launched into a whole thing about the life drinkers, and now she's just worried that maybe the lawyer thinks that they're all insane people in a cult.
Festa really needs to have a conversation with Henny about not bringing up the life drinkers to every single person that comes across.
She was a knowledgeable lady?
She starts every conversation when she meets a person with, how are you on conspiracies?
That is the line, and that's also the point where she realized she needed to leave now.
I like this image, too, of, Henny being, a brilliant investigator, but, a desk cop. Yeah. And actually having no interpersonal matter for investigations.
That's exactly it.
So, you are ahead of the group, sort of just cooling off after this, going, whoo, thinking, better not mention the life drinkers. When you see what looks like just a lone hunter with a crossbow, local garb riding along. It's coming up the road. Looks at you and nods.
I look at him and I nod, and then I realize I don't have a mask on. And I panic just a little bit.
All right.
Are you going to tell us to dip off, or?
Yes, I'm trying to think of what the signal for that was.
You could just come.
Yeah, I'll come back for. Yeah, I'll forgot my glasses and turn around.
All right.
Pull out your phone and
oh man,
going the wrong way, then turn around.
I just, Mr. Guardman, I saw your lovely. You don't have glasses. Anyway,
you're just oh boy, madness.
So, who's on rear watch?
Rear watch is Trunk.
All right. So, basically, at the same time, Henny is coming, charging up to meet you from the front. Trunk is coming up, charging to meet you from the back. And as you're sort of going huh? It's then that you notice over the tree line, there's an arrow going up into in the sky that's been ignited with green flame, and another one just the same, a decent ways behind you.
That's not good.
Not good at all.
Trunk goes, mail courier, saying a mail road. I don't trust it.
Yeah, no. That guard smiled at me. I don't know what I have to roll to see if it was a knowing smile, but it was a knowing smile.
In my experience, guards are never happy.
Fair point. I say we vacate the trail immediately.
I think so too.
Johnstone, any good logging trails around here that we could leave right now?
Not for miles. Unless we just want to go into the bush.
Into the bush it is!
Okay.
Into the bush.
You, unfortunately, have to knock down a bunch of shit, but you make mostly inconspicuous, very conspicuous trails, making your way off to a campsite or hunting cabin somewhere. You think you're on a worn-out road, and eventually you get to just, like, a little husk of a building. From there, you quickly move the wagons behind, and everybody kind of crouches low. Some people run back to cover the trails, and you wait. You don't hear riders. You don't hear the clanging of armor. You hear a chickadee. It perches on a nearby branch.
Oh, no. Can we kill it?
I don't have the anger towards birds anymore.
Well...
But I definitely still have the anger towards birds.
Who's, you have that amulet, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I touched the necklace.
As you grab it, you're full of rage for a brief moment. You feel a compulsion in your arm. Like, you could fight it if you wanted to, but you feel like gripping this necklace is making you do something.
I'd let it happen.
All right. You sort of just go, whoosh, and you feel the necklace just crumble, and there's like a spectral whap of poison that hits this bird right out of the sky. As that happens, you see it sort of like, almost like a mist of blood sort of poof, and there's a human-sized like body that crumbles into the brush nearby. As that happens, there's a bunch of birds that fly down towards the edge of your camp, roughly 10 or so, and they all morph into humanoid form. There's a few elf-born, a few dwarf-born, a few humans, some lupus and vulpe, mixed group. All of them reach out and they create weapons out of stone, and they start bum rushing the cabin. They're slowly walking in towards you guys.
Oh, wow.
This is because we joked about the necklace in Discord, isn't it?
Oh, goodness.
This is because we've been joking about the necklace.
I'm always watching.
Okay.
Okay, well, now we're in combat.
Well, yep. We are surrounded. What are their numbers?
There's 10 of them.
10 of them.
10 of them? They can shapeshift, form weapons. Reggie has a good feeling about taking out a couple of them. But...
You know what I have a good feeling about? Wilding Salt.
Wilding Salt? Okay, well, if we're going to go that route, I suggest we do it now while they're a distance away. Also, do you happen to have any healing potions? I really winded myself.
Yes, I give you a healing potion.
Okay. And you have a chance to mix in the wildling powder to the next attack you make. You guys basically all have a turn right now.
Okay.
I spend that turn patching myself up because I'm at extremely low health.
Okay.
With the healing potion, because I managed to get myself out of bleeding.
Do you want to just use them the way the rules were, or do you want to use the proposed ones we were talking about earlier?
Oh, I'm doing this specifically to test the proposed ones.
Okay. In that case, are you testing a potion of vigor, tenacity, or ferocity?
Okay, so the vigor was the one that increases your dodginess, right?
I'm going to say that this isn't something Vesta really knows. She knows them as vigor, tenacity, and ferocity.
I'm already very tenacious. I need vigor.
Okay. You drink the potion. Roll that healing.
Woohoo!
Reggie's rolling military tactics to figure out a decent way to attack people that turn into birds. I can't say he has too much experience with this battle.
I mix Wildling Salt in poison grenades.
All right. You have the Grenadier feature, don't you? Like the benefit?
Yes.
Okay, you can target like 3 people within an area with this.
I target 3 people.
Reggie rolls a 10.
10. Fast and hard before they can improvise. These guys are going to be very easily able to swap out their tactics. That's as much as you got on the fly.
Okay. How did your move go?
Oh, I haven't made my attack.
All right, roll it with plus 2d6.
Is this an alchemy?
Yep.
Ooh.
Plus
wow.
2d6.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of dice.
That's a lot of dice. That's the old system amount of dice.
Yeah.
Whew.
10, 6, plus 7, 12. So that's 22, 25.
All right. You whip these. You're holding 3 slings at once, and you kind of have a rhythm, like a whap, and you loosen them, like finger, finger, finger. And each of the bombs makes contact, and poof, poof, poof. There's a puff of purple, and then for a second, like a quarter of a second, everyone's gone, and then a puff that happens as they're all hacking up smoke, and they've changed places.
Nice.
All right. You were just surveying the battlefield, though. You still have your action.
What are our companions doing? Because if we charge, I'll charge with.
Some of your companions are still kind of caught off guard a little bit. That being said, all of your fighting companions are armed and ready. You guys are all sort of sitting there, like camping, hoping you don't get caught, so everyone's weapons are drawn and they're ready to roll.
Well, first thing we should do is form up a wall and march.
All right. You say wall, and Elbjorn, Red, and Absolution all move up to form with you.
I do too. I also have a shield.
I don't have a shield. I will stand behind the wall.
So right behind the wall, Henny, you're there, and you've got your hatchets out, presumably.
Yes.
Alongside you, there's Rollins with a spear and Trunk with a greatsword. Mixed in behind you guys, there's Elmira and Johnstone a little ways away, getting some range. It's then that you hear the crash of Steelfist jumping out the other direction. You see someone getting punched up, and then they back down.
Nice.
Impressive.
Can we make out who he's punching? Like, is it a specific person, or is it generic other person who is attacking us?
Another person is attacking you.
Gotcha.
So after you threw your potions, the group ahead of you is particularly weak. They seem like a place that you could be striking.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I have changed their positions.
Yeah, they're completely thrown off.
So as they're disoriented, you rush in. Make a weapon roll.
That I can do. Alright. That's 10, 16, 18, 23.
23. All right. You managed to quickly get off a slice before the shapeshifters can alter. Elbjorn seems to be similarly quick. Rollins rushes in with a jab, and right as that's happening, the last shape changer goes and shifts armor last moment to counter, but right as that happens, there's a whoop downwards from behind. Without noticing, you see that Tiffany formed the line behind you.
Okay. I'm going to pick one of them and throw 3 knives at him.
All right.
I'm just burning all my off turns, throwing knives at this dude.
You would kill yourself again using all your off turns.
Okay, fine. I'll burn only 2 off turns to throw 3 knives at him.
Fair enough.
Actually, no, wait, I take stamina damage. Shit. Oh, but only... No, it's just a knife. Never mind. Okay, I'll just throw a knife. 1 knife. Ah, shit. You're right. I completely forgot how the rules to the system work. 10, 15, 18 plus 1 is 19 knife thrown.
All right. As they're being beaten back, they're all off kilter. Right in the middle, between Vesta and Red, you sort of like just tap a little bit. They both feel it. They move aside, and you have a moment to just whoo, and you get one of them right in the chest.
Whoa.
As that happens, you hear like a and you see that in the treetops, Elmira's jumping, and she launches off a pair of arrows that finish off the other 2. That's 3 down. Steelfist has taken out another one. You guys are now grouped up outside the cabin, and the rest of them have formed up. Some of them are closer to your stuff. Most of them are on either side of the cabin.
Do you have another bomb?
I've got so many.
Throw it! And this is me using tactical.
Okay, sure.
So you get a free
bomb.
A free bomb.
Free bomb.
And I'm free.
I have one lightning bomb.
Throw a free bomb.
Feels like a good moment for it, you know?
Wait. Reggie, what sort of attack is good against, or is armor good against? Like heavy armor. Can we no time to strategize. Can we trick him into doing a lightning thing? Into being vulnerable to lightning?
You don't have the time to hash out the details.
Shit.
I threw a lightning bomb.
Okay.
Right. As you hurl it, are you heading left or right of the cabin or over to where they're closer to your stuff? It's a torn down cabin, so you can see where they are. There's just structures in the way.
Closer to our stuff, I think, is where I would throw it.
All right. You lob it way overhead where they don't see it coming. You hear the crash and the lightning strike, and you catch most of them off guard. They're all sort of twitching, diving out of the way. They rejoin the groups to the side. Now that they've formed up a front, they march towards you.
What armor did they actually shift into?
That is a question that you have to keep asking yourself.
Well, if they switched to shift to Medanax, I think Henny's wildest dreams just came true without us planning it. So I'll do an extra swing with Medanax. I'll onslaught that.
They do see you holding the Danax. What type of damage are you doing?
Swift.
All right.
That's 22.
All right. As you go with a quick swing, they've had the chance to react, and they all morph into plate. Or chain, rather. You sort of clatter harmlessly against them.
You wanted lightning? There you go.
Do you have another one of those lightning things?
Before you guys go back to your main turn, because you're still using off turns, they take their turns.
Oh, shit.
So there's a number of different attacks. Two of them towards Henny. They can see you giving orders, which is why.
Yeah, makes sense.
The other ones are attacking various other party members.
You said you were behind me, right?
Yeah, we have a unit going right now.
Yeah, I'll stonewall Henny.
All right. So that's 3 attacks against you, and then Vesta's close enough, and there was one against Vesta. Are you willing to go against 4?
Yeah, screw it, yeah.
All right.
I'll just be like, oh no, and then just like dive, like grab Henny and pull her behind me, and then like see Vesta and just pull the rest of the group out of the way.
All right. The first one is a 17.
What type of damage?
In this case, they are switching to heavy.
Heavy is neutral, so nothing.
All right. They are all doing this at the same time, so they don't have a chance to react, so the next are all heavy.
Okay, so they're all neutral.
We've got an 18.
Nope.
I like it. We've got a 17.
Nope.
And we have even lower. We have, I'll give you the number at least, a 12.
Reggie's laughing.
So yeah, basically, like, do you still have, like, the teal half cape?
I imagine yes.
So basically, like, after going for that swift swing, you're on the back swing, and you do, like, basically like a pirouette. As you do that, like, you toss up the cape, and there's just like a whack, 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 whack on your back that does absolutely nothing, and you return back to your, like, strong position again.
Man.
It's your turns again.
Behold, the build that is Reggie. The thing I haven't gotten to show off all that much.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my next brilliant plan. I'm assuming you have all your bombs out. Like sort of there. I'm going to, because we're behind the wall, they can't really see us. I'm going to point at what I presume to be a lightning bomb.
I don't have any. That was my last one. I just told you.
Do you have other bombs?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to point at a
poison.
fire.
I have poison. I have fire. I have cold.
I'm pointing at what I presume to be a firebomb and yelling, "Throw a lightning bomb!"
As you do this, you see like Blue's cape just like whiff up, like there's a brutal upward blast of air, and his eyes go like bright yellow. He just like does one of these and goes whoom, and there's like a deafening lightning strike to the one side of the group.
Nice.
Do I recognize that as celestial or
No, that's elemental.
Okay, I was gonna say it's just like if he's doing that celestial, Reggie's a little bit pissed.
It seems to be quite effective, and you're laying waste to them. As that happens, Steel Fist comes out from the melee and manages to. He hears what you're saying, and you see him punching lightning into them.
It was kind of supposed to be a deception thing, but
If it works out.
shit. Okay.
No, you were set up. Reggie set you up.
Okay.
With them taken care of, the rest of the others turn into elk and start making their way through the woods. You can still see them charging off.
I attack the closest thing that is trying to run away.
They're too far for you.
Damn.
Just because you're Reggie and you're the slowest party member.
I have 5 movement.
Now,
Where's my head?
Hmm?
Where's my head?
Your head?
The head. Where is it?
It should still be in the wagon.
I check.
All right, you rush towards the wagon and quickly look, and okay, sure enough, there's a head.
Now,
Okay.
I took the vigor.
Mhm.
How much speed boost does that give me?
That gives you +2/+2. You also have a +5 to dodge. What else was it? You have +2 to your damage, but you have -5 to your base threshold.
Shit. Okay. I'm gonna sprint after one of them.
All right, roll grace.
Okay.
I guess this is edge case, but this would be +5 again.
Let's see. Oh, thank God that's a terrible roll. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 15.
All right, you sprint your ass off. You manage to catch up to the group of them, and you have your weapons ready.
I was kind of hoping that I could get one of the stragglers, but they're all there, ain't they?
Well, at this point, they've all turned into elk, so they're kind of bounding away. They're all kind of stragglery.
Can I grab one? I'm just tackling one of them. I'm going for my knave bonus to grappling.
Yeah, roll it.
What do I roll?
Weapon with your knave bonus to grappling.
Okay.
I miss grappling.
19, 20,
Such an
25.
effective strategy.
25 to grapple one of these elks.
All right, you run on and manage to get a hand on some horns. From there, you wrench, and disoriented, it loses footing. As this happens, you sort of try to hold on as this person tries to shift into something else, but you've got them pinned.
Help!
The rest of the group quickly catches up to you.
Reggie will restrain with his full strength.
Ugh.
Vesta, for a brief moment, sees a chickadee flying off into the forest.
My elemental isn't good enough for that. Trying to shoot down. Are the bodies of the...
Who says your elemental isn't good enough? Isn't it?
I've got...
To kill a chickadee?
I don't know if I would have the aim for it. I have 2 dots.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, might as
Try.
well. It never stops Alice from trying.
I throw a firebolt at this chickadee.
All right, roll that damage.
10.
10. It's just enough to knock it off kilter, and as it sort of like bumps into a tree halfway, it morphs back into who you now recognize to be Kree. He starts. You can see that he's actually got a decent bit of cuts and scrapes. Now that you've been subduing this other one, you can see that like he's too worn down to maintain the form. Kree's running away in human form through the woods.
I'm going after him if you got this asshole.
Oh, me? Yep. Just.
All right.
I yell at Elbjorn.
Quick, I need a speed 3 potion. 12, 13, 18, plus 5 from the vigor is... Am I doing the math right? 12, 13, 18, 19, 24.
24. You make some quick progress and manage to catch up to him. Roll that grapple.
Gary, you slimy son of a bitch. Oh no. Oh, dang. That is 12 plus 5 is 18. 17.
17. You manage to pin him to the ground. He's struggling a decent bit. As this happens, you see that Elbjorn winks at you and runs a bit further forward in the forest and ducks behind a tree.
Stay down, you dirty son of a bitch. Oh no. He escapes.
So he starts bolting, and right as that happens, he sort of does that sort of like tries to stop, slips, falls halfway down as Elbjorn just like turns around a corner and he goes, try harder. He goes, whoop, and off goes his head.
Oh. Are there any more to chase?
Looks like things are good.
Oh, I don't know what you put in that potion, but... Whew.
As you guys all make your way back and gather at the caravan, Elbjorn sitting there holding Kree's head going, 2 for 1!
Hey!
Okay, the bodies of the other... Do we still have bodies? Are they still like laying around?
There are some bodies, yes.
Can I identify them?
You wouldn't know who any of them are. You don't recognize any people. They all seem to be mortals, though.
They don't seem to be dead.
Yeah, they're not regenerating.
Okay, they're not... Okay.
Oh, where's Bea?
Bea's holding a box, like getting Elbjorn to put a head in it.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I look at the head. I'm like, man, Kree, it's been some time.
Well, don't torment the man. He is just a head after all.
Life drinkers don't die permanently, but they do go out a little bit. He's just sort of glazed over right now.
Do you think you could whip up another one of those calmness brews?
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Probably don't need it for Kree.
I mean, for now.
Well, I mean, even just to top off Sparky over here.
Do you think they were trying to rescue Vulcan?
Meanwhile, Reggie's still just like, still restraining over here.
Oh, right. And I pull out the rope that I've been carrying this whole time that I purchased at the very beginning when I made this character.
You have rope?
Yes!
He's bought a lot of rope.
I bought I think it was 100 feet of rope.
Which is easily enough to, full-on shibari this dude, let alone, presumably, the simple hog tie you're going.
I also have rope.
I mean, you probably... Oh, no, you probably got it from the mine.
Yeah.
You guys used that rope.
Yeah,
we use rope in the mines.
Okay, let's hog tie this guy.
I've just got it forever at the bottom of my bag.
And I guess we'll pick it up next time, now that you guys...
Got 2 heads.
have some baggage.
2 heads.
Gotta think about where we're gonna put these
I
heads.
have thought about it. I have diagrams. I have plans. I have material lists.
No, permanently.
Oh. I don't know, probably some vault until they get broken out again.
Isn't that just the way?
Bottom of the ocean.
So they can eventually break out, regain their bodies, and then make the long, arduous journey back to land.
That's just a head.
It's just gonna...
Maybe like a little jellyfish where he swallows
perpetually
water.
drowning.
Yeah, I'm glad he's unconscious for the perpetual drowning part.
Well, I guess that's where we leave ourselves.
Just one quick, can we end on the face of the lawyer having witnessed all this?
Honestly, the lawyer seems unfazed.
Okay.
Lawyer's like, yep, typical Tuesday.
Typical Tuesday. Whew.
Well, you can check us out on a typical Thursday at twitch.tv/MrCroden. Really, we start closer to 8, but we like to say that we start closer to 7 because then we procrastinate and start closer to 8. You can check out this episode once it airs at youtube.com/MrCroden, and you can check out the rules to this game at bloodwine.fandom.com. They're not going to be completely up to date, as you can probably tell by this session and the alchemy thing. We're doing some hot fixes and trying to test some things on the fly, but for the most part, system stable. I'd like to think. Is there anything you want to plug?
Tomorrow I'll be doing more Heroes of Hammerwatch Moon Temple DLC because it's a lot of fun, and yeah, and for whatever reason, it's becoming a trend that whenever I play the game, I have the goose going as well that keeps stealing my mouse.
It's very fun.
It's very something, that's for sure. It's very annoying, especially because they introduced a permadeath feature where where if you die, that's it. And so I'm running around being like, don't kill me, no, stop stealing my mouse. And yeah, that's very fun. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, and then also on Monday there's more Dragon Age, which is becoming a bonanza thing. It's fun. It's interesting. Yeah, it's something.
Dragon Age has the benefit of being both a long BioWare game for like both loving and riffing on BioWare, but also being playable, which is nice.
It's something akin to playable. It definitely does keep crashing on me though, and it makes me sad.
It's the way it goes.
Yep. So, tune in for that, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
See you around.
Bye-bye.